Rams, Saints, Patriots, Chiefs.
LA,
how the Super Bowl matchup will be determined. Also, where's Dan? Saban's staff turnover with Ice, Spain, the Shaw, Cheddar Bill. Let's go around the horn.
Welcome to football with the ESPN stand
America.
In Miami.
LA.
A shot to you, buddy.
Football capital of the world.
We're going to start in what type of order? Chronological order, because my chronological clock is ticking like this, panel. Week 9 in New Orleans. It was Drew Brees to Michael Thomas over and over and over again. 12 catches, 211 yards. It was Thomas on the horn after the TD that ended the game, basically. 45-35 was the final. Whether that game gives New Orleans an advantage, or maybe you think LA is better served with that experience. You can start there, Bill Plaschke, or you can start wherever you like, because you're a panelist with a hometown team in a conference championship game in Los Angeles. There you go.
I got to be quicker, Tony, because I'm flying to New Orleans right after the show.
I can eliminate you right now if you want. I mean, that's possible.
No, I'll do it. Don't worry, Tim Kalshaw's not going anywhere. The Rams are a much better team than they were Week 9. They have Aqib Talib. They didn't have him Week 9. They have basically 2 Todd Gurleys with C.J. Anderson. They rushed for 273 yards against Dallas combined. They didn't have him in Week 9. Goff is more mature in Week 9. They've been through a lot since Week 9 with all the fires out here and the evacuations. They've come together as a team. Totally different Rams team from Week 9. Totally better Rams team from Week 9.
Okay, so you think the Rams are better positioned having played that game in the regular season, and then they have the 2 Todd Gurleys, where I'm sure if you're looking at the 2 of them, you might be able to tell the difference. C.J. Anderson and Gurley.
No, I can't see any difference.
Tim Kallishaw, how about you?
I will say I was there to see Bill Plaschke's hometown team take apart my hometown team, if that's the way you want to look at it. And so the Rams are better than they were earlier in the year. They're not quite good enough to win in New Orleans. I think they're going to be so consumed with Michael Thomas. And I realize he's not going to be matched up on Marcus Peters all the time like last time. Talib is there. They'll play zone. But they're going to be so consumed with that. I think this is a big running game. I think it's a huge Kamara game. And I think the Saints are just too tough at home. The way the Rams want to run that offense, harder to do on the road.
So if I were to ask you, Tim, and you started with the Michael Thomas, so let's stay there for a second. But is Michael Thomas the difference maker above all others in this game for you? In that matchup?
He's the difference maker because he's going to get so much attention from the Rams that Kamara will actually be the guy who ends up with the big yardage.
Sarah Spain, you want to answer that question to start off? With the #1 difference maker in this game, either team?
Yeah, I think Aqib Talib coming back certainly is going to temper maybe our expectations for Michael Thomas, but I agree. The attention he's going to get is going to open up stuff for the rest of the Saints team because of how well he played against them before. Now, Bill keeps talking about how the Rams are a different team. They are, admittedly so, because of Talib and because of C.J. Anderson. They're also without Cooper Kupp, and that was a guy who was available for that first matchup. We underestimate how much that helped the Rams offense. The Saints are also a different team. After Week 9, they've only given up an average of 5 points after halftime. This is a team who has figured out how to shut things down. I think if anything, it benefits the Saints. They can go back and they can build off that work.
Right, guy Sola.
Well, the 2 teams combined for 80 points, and 45 of them were scored by New Orleans. So offense wasn't a problem for the Rams. It was defense. And Aaron Donald, he played 70 snaps in that game. That was a season high for him, and he did not get 1 sack. They have to control the line of scrimmage. You have to put pressure on Drew Brees and get in his face, because he'll pick apart that secondary if you don't.
Answer this for me, Frank. If the Saints do blank, they win. If the Rams do blank, they win.
I think if the Rams could do what they did last week and run, if the Rams could do what they did last week and run the ball, they'll be okay. I think it's about getting to Drew Brees. If Drew Brees is standing back there, throwing to Michael Thomas, who had 12 receptions their last meeting, the Saints will win.
Same question to you, Sarah, and you can be more specific than Frank. If they score more points, they'll win the game. Sarah Spade, specifically, if the Saints do blank and if the Rams do blank.
If the Saints get to Goff early and make him make mistakes, then they will win.
I'm hoping for specifics here, people. Tell me if Goff has 3 interceptions.
So what are yours?
Tell me something
if
like...
C.J. Anderson has another 150-plus yard game.
I don't think this is working for me right now. Tim Kallishaw, can you possibly dip your toe into this?
If Sean McVay can call all the plays at the line of scrimmage and they know all the Saints stunts, then the Rams will win the game like they did
That's exactly what happened against Dallas, yes. If they know the plays in advance. Bill Plaschke, you?
If Jared Goff makes 5 big throws, 5 big plays, they'll win the game. If the Saints can run the ball and gain 150 yards rushing, they'll win the game.
Fine.
How's that?
That's specifics. That's what I wanted to hear. At least I could watch the game and look for that. Kalishaw, he's already made his pick. He wasted no time. He's got the Saints in this one. Plashke, you're leading. I think you're leading.
It's over. It's over, Rand.
It's over. Spain, how about you?
Oh, no, it's over? Oh, the jinx.
Who you got, Sarah?
I got the Saints.
Frank Isola, who you got?
Drew Brees and the Saints.
We'll move on. Everything you guys just said about an early season matchup and how it plays out in a conference championship game, let's see if you stand by that for even 2 minutes and apply it to the Patriots-Chiefs. Week 6 in New England, it was a shootout. Brady was near perfect in this game. Mahomes came strapped too. Did have some turnovers. Led a second-half comeback. Gostkowski kick at the gun, 43-40 New England. So much has happened since then that the Patriots now have somehow become a feisty, overlooked, kid brother underdog. Frank, speaking of, is this rematch a bigger advantage for Belichick and the Pats or Mahomes and the Chiefs?
Well, I think the fact that Mahomes got to see the Patriots one time already, and remember, that game that they played the first time in New England, in the second half, he was 9 of 13 with 4 touchdowns. That's how good he was. But I'll say this about Bill Belichick over his career. As a defensive coordinator or a head coach, when he goes up against the team with the #1 offense in the playoffs, he's 5-1. So he has a way of coming up with schemes that can really confuse somebody, especially a young quarterback like Patrick Mahomes.
Real strong stat, Frank. Sarah Spain, same question to you.
Yeah, I think it's better for Mahomes and the Chiefs because that game was in Foxborough where the Pats are at their best, and it came down to a final score. And as Frank said, Mahomes was on fire second half. This is a game at Arrowhead. The Patriots are a completely different team on the road. 3-5 on the road this year. They average 11 fewer points per game on the road. And Tom Brady has gone to more Super Bowls than he has played in road playoff games. This is not a guy who has had to fare well on the road very often in order to succeed. I think it's a totally different team. And if you did as well as you did in Foxborough against them, that
also a great piece of information, Sarah. Tim Kalishaw, what do you got for us?
Don't want to make all my answers about the Cowboys today, but the Patriots have the same road record as the Cowboys this year, 3-5. That's got to scare you if you're a New England fan. That's the point of that comment. But beyond that, that first game I do think helped the Chiefs. I think I think a couple losses helped the Chiefs, but that one in particular, they saw in the second half that I know Belichick is famous for. He's going to take somebody away. He couldn't take Tyreek Hill away. You can't take Tyreek Hill away. He will make big plays, and he'll make enough.
Sounds like that's your X factor. You're one difference maker for this game above all others, Tyreek Hill, Tim?
Oh, absolutely.
You seem almost insulted that I ask. Oh, absolutely. Sorry.
Why would you ask? Why would you ask?
I'll ask Bill Plashke. Is it Tyreek Hill for you as well?
No, it's the Patriots secondary. It's the best secondary against deep balls in the NFL. McCourty and Gilmore and Jackson, those guys, this will be the difference in the game. Mahomes, again, everybody rips the Patriots defense. A secondary against a deep ball is almost unbreakable.
So your answer maybe would be if the Patriots can prove their secondary is up to the task, maybe picks off Mahomes once, twice, that's their path to victory. Frank, what do you think the path to victory for New England is and for Kansas City?
Well, I think it all boils down to Kansas City's defense. You know, a week ago, the flavor of the month was Andrew Luck and the Colts. Think about what they did to the Colts offense. They got in Andrew Luck's face, and we've seen it before with Tom Brady. You pressure him, especially early, he's dumping the ball as quickly as he can. Last week, the Chargers, they gave him way too much time. That's why they got picked apart.
You gave the stats, Sarah, about the Patriots on the road before. Also, the Chiefs at home. Defensively, they're a different team at home. Go ahead.
Well, Patriots defensively, Bill Plashke's stat is great, but they're 23rd in defensive efficiency on the road. They're not the same team on defense when they're away from Foxborough. I think if they can show up defensively, that's going to be the key. Obviously, for the Chiefs, I can't believe no one brought it up. Andy Reid, he cannot get outsmarted, outcoached, and out-strategized by Belichick. He has to at least not make mistakes in terms of a game.
Tim, you gave us the Tyreek Hill X factor. What do the Patriots have to do to win?
Well, they got to try to start the way they did against the Chargers. That's harder on the road, but they got to get, even with short passes to Edelman and James White, they got big plays out of it, and they've got to get some game-breaking plays that you don't expect.
And
Sony Michel, he's got to be able to run the ball. Whether or not the Chiefs can stop him, which they didn't do the first time they played, that to me will be a huge kick.
And your pick for the game, Frank, just so I have somebody to mute on Monday?
Well, I think the biggest road game of the season for the Patriots was losing in Miami. That freak show, or else they'd be hosting this game. So because of that, I give the Chiefs an advantage. I think they get out of this game.
I'm going Chiefs, even though karma tells me.
Wow, you really seem like you feel good about that pick. Okay, how about you, Kalisha?
Chiefs red behind me. Kansas City. Here we go.
Flashky, you.
There you go.
How can y'all bet against Belichick and Brady? They're not done. You can't do it. I'm not going to fall for it. Belichick and Brady. I'm not going to fall for it until I see them on the ground, carried off the field.
All right, last question for you. Which
Now
Super Bowl matchup, potential matchup, of course, do you think would be the best for the league and best for eyeballs? You know, best game to watch. Tim, you want to answer that?
I'm fine with the Chiefs-Rams rematch, but I actually think Chiefs-Saints. One young Mahomes against one old Breeze. See how that goes.
Dara Spain, you agree?
The league wants Brady versus Breeze. I want Saints versus Chiefs.
Isola?
Nah, Brady versus Breeze, although Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, not a bad consolation prize.
Bill Plaschke.
Chiefs versus Rams was the best game of the year. What are we talking about? Of course we want to see that again. That was a game of the year in the regular season. I want to see it again.
Such a homer.
Duh.
That's right.
Duh.
Are you surprised by this, Sarah, having done 100 shows with Bill Plaschke?
Was it not the best game of the season? Was it not the best game of the season?
It was a great game.
Yes.
There was a lot of great games this season.
Thank you.
Best poorly
There could
played
be
game
more
of
great
the
games.
season.
All right. Isola and Spain in the lead. Tim Kalishaw took a little diversion talking about the talking about the Cowboys for no reason.
America's
and Bill
team.
Plaschke, you know, he's got some points to make up in buy or sell. We'll see what happens.
I'll miss you in New Orleans, Tim.
Hey, I heard you moved into a new apartment.
By Chase, coming to you from the Seaport District at Pier 17.
Ice in Spain 17, the Shaw and Cheddar Bill, some work to do in buy or sell. Here it is, the return of the boogie.
Last game without Boogie Cousins, and I know this is a real simple question, but what is about to change?
All hell about to break loose.
Hell's about to break loose with Cousins coming back. Is that a sentiment that you agree with?
All right, two differing sentiments there from Draymond and from Durant. Where are you on this, Bill? What do you expect to see from Boogie?
I'm exactly where Kevin Durant is on this. Kobe Bryant scored 9 points in his first game back from Achilles. It took Kobe a year and a half. It's going to take time. It's a process. Will they be patient with him for the process? Will he be patient with himself? This is fraught with trouble, I think.
Fraught with trouble because now not just the health side of it, but also the mercurial nature of Cousins, you're saying?
The mercurial nature
You're
of it,
wondering
and
what
will
the
he want to
Boogie
rush
cocktail could be here with this championship roster. Kalisha, do you worry about Boogie on the roster?
No, I'm not worried about that aspect of it at all. I think Durant is correct in the short term. When a great player joins a great team, he's got to figure out how to fit in. They usually defer too much. But over time, just adding another all-star, the depth they have going into the playoffs, it'll be
Dara
terrific.
Spain?
Well, first of all hell about to break loose doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come out and score 30 points. It means we just added another all-star to our team and a guy who's fiery and hasn't been winning championships for the last 5 years and is looking to get one and is hungry. That's the difference. Now, the difference also is he doesn't have to be Kobe. He knows he's not Kobe on this team, so he can come in and either add to the starters or be a great boost off the bench when they want to rest those guys. So I don't think the pressure is there the way Bill thinks it is.
Isola.
Here's yet another example of how Kevin Durant and Draymond Green can't agree on anything. Remember, Tony, it's only January.
You took that out of
The
there?
Warriors season.
That's funny.
The Warriors season starts in April. The fact that they're getting him back now and can ease him into it, this is a home run for the Warriors, and they're only paying him $5 million. It's not a big investment, and he's the one that has to prove.
How
that he can
about
fit in
Bill
or
saying it's
fit out?
fraught with potential disaster around every corner? Do you agree with that, Frank? The mercurial nature.
Well, you know, they've won with JaVale McGee at center, Zaza Pachulia. I think DeMarcus Cousins, if you're going to double team in the post, who are you going to leave open? If it's not going to be Draymond Green, good luck with the other.
Buy or sell two. Sixers 120, Pacers 96. Embiid had 22, 13, and 8. You've seen a whole lot of him getting massages on the court pregame. You've seen a whole lot of him getting massages on the court pregame. I mean, plumbers are jealous about how much he's showing here. He's working through a backache. He says he's a warrior. Home court in the playoffs is important for his team, and that's why he's out there. Tim, buy or sell Embiid playing through it last night?
I'm going to buy that. I'm going to disagree with Sir Charles. A disagreement about all of this. We get on guys for resting when they're not hurt. Here's a guy. If you walk through an NBA locker room before a game, they're not usually out on the floor like that, but they're all in the training room. They're all getting massages. There's a lot of guys going through stuff to get out on the floor. And look how he played. He played fine. He was especially in the second half.
Dara Spain?
It's not about how you play during those injuries. Adrenaline will push you through the pain. You saw in the warm-ups that simple things like going up for a layup were paining him. The back is the most important thing because it's often the result of injuries somewhere else along your kinetic chain.
Oh, kinetic chain. Here we go again. Thank you. You know I love it.
A bulging disc and a degenerative disc, and someone who's torn her Achilles and knows how it affects the whole rest
thank you. Your Achilles may be a little different than Joel Embiid's, so doctor, thank you. Frank Isola, how about you?
They babied this guy for a couple of years. You honestly believe if they were worried, they would have run him out there. He wanted you to see how hurt he was, and I give him credit. He played injured. By the way, voting for the All-Star game ends on Monday. That was a nationally televised game. Well played by Joel Embiid.
Oh, you think that's what this was about? Frank? Okay.
He made sure everybody said we all knew how injured he was.
Okay, Bill Plaschke, are you with Frank there that this was a
No,
PR
not at all,
stunt?
Frank. No. He didn't play into anything. Barkley was exactly right. You've got to save players from themselves sometimes. And if you want to make the All-Star team, you got to say, shut this down tonight. It was painful just watching him warm up. Yes, he had to get a good game, but how's he going to feel today? How's he going to feel tomorrow?
Isola. I know you're a conspiracy theorist on many platforms
come on,
here,
Frank.
but now you thought this was a PR stunt? Okay.
He told us he's a Warrior, that he was out there, and I agree with him. To me, that was one of his most impressive
Better than him saying he's a Laker.
Playing injured, like everybody used to do.
Good
for him. From himself.
Save Plaschke from himself with his jokes. Buy or sell 3, the turnover on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama. And this incredible headline from Bruce Feldman's story in The Athletic. Where's Dan? Nick Saban didn't know his new offensive coordinator, Dan Enos, skipped out and took the Miami OC job until he no-showed at a meeting last week. Quote, where the bleep is Dan? Enos tweeted out he didn't go to Alabama. This week, defensive coordinator Tosh LaPoy left for the Browns. 5 assistants have left this year, same as last year, Sarah Spain. What to buy, what to sell?
This is worse than getting broken up with via Post-it note. He didn't even leave a Post-it note, and I'm not buying that vague no ghosting here. If he didn't ghost, he would have told us when and how he told Saban. I can't tell if this reflects worse on him or on a boss that this guy didn't respect enough to tell he was leaving.
Frank Isola?
Yeah, if that story is true, that's pretty weak that he didn't notify his boss. But it seems just like the Patriots. Coaches leave all the time. Oh, this is going to be it. It's the end of them. As long as Nick Saban is there and those recruits are coming in, Alabama will be just fine.
Yeah, you know, they lost 5 coaches this year. They lost 5 coaches last year. This happens every year. He's a tough coach. The assistants have a short shelf life there. They can get interviews other places. The machine.
But do you believe assistants are afraid to tell him? Is that what this is, Plaschke? They're afraid that he's going to have. Tim, do you believe assistants are afraid?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, I think he's afraid to say, I'd rather be the offensive coordinator at Miami than the offensive coordinator here. I need to get out of here. So, yeah, but he does lose 5 guys a year. It's not going to have any giant effect on
I'll throw a conspiracy theory out there, Frank. You'll like this. Maybe actually Saban knew, but he was just sussing out his assistants in the room to see if they were going to tell him or not. Maybe that's it.
They weren't in the trust tree.
Like Plaschke, Kalishaw, enjoy the games this weekend.
On to New Orleans.
On to New Orleans, Bell. Go catch that flight. Sarah Spain, Frank Isola. Showdown next.
Start your by Chase. Coming to you from the Seaport
Sarah
District
Spain,
of Pier
Frank
17.
Isola. That's how we end the week. Best of luck in Showdown. Showdown
Spain,
1.
17,
Undefeated
Shaw,
Virginia
and
and Cheddar
number
Bill.
one
Some
Duke
work to do in buy or sell. Here it is, the return of the boogie. And the loss of trade.
Last game without Boogie Cousins, and I know this is a real simple question, but what is about to change?
At this point in the season, who is the game bigger for,
Hell's about to break loose with Cousins coming back.
I'm
Is that
going
a
to say
sentiment that
UVA.
you
They
agree
have a
with?
chance to prove their defense is good as everyone says it is.
All right,
It's
two
been the last
differing
couple of years.
sentiments there.
And
from
everybody expects
Draymond
Duke to be
and
there
from
down the stretch.
Durant.
UVA
Where
as
are
well,
you
but
on
this
this,
could be
Bill? What do you
something that
expect
puts
to
them on
see
the map.
I'm exactly where Kevin Durant
Unfortunately
is
for
on
Tony
this.
Bennett and
Kobe
UVA,
Bryant
no
scored
one's
9
going to believe
points in
them
his
until
first
they
game
win a
back
couple
from
of
Achilles.
games
It's going
in
to
the
take
NCAA tournament. To me,
a
this
year
is
and a half.
more
It's
about
going to take
Duke.
time
They
for
will
the
not
process.
have Trey
Will they
Jones.
be
And
patient
remember,
with him for the
Duke
process?
lost their last
Will
home
they be
game.
patient
Are
with
they
themselves?
really going to
This
lose
is fraught
2
with
straight home games?
trouble.
And we'll get
Fraught
to
with
see
trouble
RJ
because now
Barrett
not just
maybe
the health
running
side of
out
it, but also
there.
the material nature key for Duke.
The
But still,
material
you're wondering what
Virginia's
got to
get some
wins.
could
Be here with they got to win just about every time they come to the court and make people forget about what happened last year. To burn
No, I'm not worried about that aspect
Showdown
of it
2,
at all.
Michael
I think
Beasley,
Durant
great
is correct
practice
in the
short,
short term.
a game.
When a great player
Maybe the
joins
most
a great
Beasley
team,
thing
he's
he's
got to
done
figure
this
out
year.
how to
The
fit
Knicks
in. They
losing on a
usually defer
goaltend in a foreign
too much,
country,
but over
maybe the most
time,
Knicks things
just
they've done
adding
this
another
year.
all-star,
The
the depth
Bulls,
they have going
the
into the
Chicago
playoffs,
Bulls,
it'll be
missing
tough.
let's do a count here.
Well, first of all hell about to break loose doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come out and score 30 points.
Right here.
It means we just added another all-star to our team, and a guy who's fiery and hasn't been winning championships for the last 5 years.
That might be the most bold thing they've done this year.
That's
what was
the
most
difference.
on brand,
Now, the
Frank?
difference also is he doesn't have to be Kobe.
The
He
Knicks
knows he's
winning in
not
London,
Kobe on this team,
bloody
so he can come in
likely, but I
and
will
either
say
add
this
to the
about Michael
starters or be a
Beasley,
great
who's a bit of a
boost off the
lovable
bench
character.
when they want to
He
rest
once
those guys.
said
So I don't think
that,
the pressure
we all
is there
use
the way
10%
Bill
of our
thinks.
brain. I think in that moment it might have been 9%. But we had another example.
I like
Kevin
this
Durant
slow
and Draymond
jog
Green
into
can't
the
agree
locker
on
room.
anything. Get his
Definitely the Bulls being on brand. Someone said yesterday they don't need Zion
season,
Williamson. They need
the Warriors
Jesus.
season
And I'll tell you,
starts
Boogie,
in
the most
April. The fact that they're getting him back now
not the
and can ease him into it, this
It's
is
the
a home
front
run
office
for the
of the
Warriors.
Bulls.
And they're only paying him
That's
$5 million. It's not a
30
big
seconds of
and he's the
FaceTime
one
goes
that
to
has to
Chicago.
prove
How
it.
about Bill saying it out?
You know,
with,
Philly fans get a
potential
pretty
disaster
bad
around
rap,
every
but
corner.
after
Do you agree with
Alshon
that,
Jeffrey's
Frank? The mercurial
Butterfingers
nature.
sort
they've
of
won
cost
with
the
JaVale-
Eagles
they've
the
won with
game.
JaVale
A
McGee
nice
at center,
second grader
Zaza
named
Pachulia.
Abigail
I think
wrote him a
DeMarcus
letter to
Cousins,
say,
if you're
you're
gonna double
okay,
team in the
everything's
post,
going to be
who are you gonna leave
fine, and we
open?
all
If it's not
forgive
gonna
you.
be Draymond
And he
Green,
surprised
good
her
luck with the
classroom
other.
with a
Firefield
visit.
two,
This is a
Sixers
great
120,
story,
Pacers
proving that
96.
maybe the next generation of
Embiid
Eagles
had
fans
22,
is a little
13,
bit
and 8.
warmer, a little bit
You've seen
kinder.
a
As
whole
far
lot
as
of
we
him
know,
getting
not
massages
one
on the
kid
court
threw a
pregame.
battery.
You've seen a whole lot of him getting
You
massages
went all
on the
the
court
way
pregame.
to the
I
end.
clubbed
and
him.
then
Still had to
jealous
stick it in there, Sarah.
Should
She's
have gone
showing
on
you.
the Today Show.
He's working through a back. See on the other side. He's a warrior.
Nice
Home
accent.
court in the playoffs is important for his team.